The Omni Talk Fast 5 is brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Avalara. Avalara makes tax compliance faster, easier, more accurate, and more reliable for 30,000 plus business and government customers in over 90 countries. Avalara leverages 1,200 plus signed partner integrations to power tax calculations, document management, tax return filing, and tax content access. Visit avalara.com to improve your compliance journey. And Miracle. Miracle is the global leader in platform business innovation for e-commerce. Companies like Macy's, Nordstrom, and Kroger use Miracle to build disruptive growth and profitability through marketplace, dropship, and retail media. For more information, visit miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com. And Own It AI. Own It AI helps the world's leading retailers advance their e-commerce shopping experiences with AI. To learn more, visit ownit.co. And finally, Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split their purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com. Hello, you are listening to OmniTalk's Retail Fast 5, ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally and currently ranked in the top 100 of all business podcasts on Apple Podcasts.
Woohoo!
The Retail Fast 5 is a podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, especially this holiday week in the U.S., a little happier each week, too.
Well said, Ann. Well said.
Yes. The Fast 5 is just one of the many great podcasts you can find from OmniTalk Retail's podcast network alongside our Retail Daily Minute, which brings you a curated selection of the most important retail headlines every morning, and our Retail Technology Spotlight series, which goes deep each week on the latest retail technology trends. Today is July 3rd, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Mazinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are here once again to discuss and debate the most important headlines from the past week. Chris, some might say that, the Christmas, winter holidays are really the time of the year where everyone gets together and celebrate with family. But I would hear more and more, especially from you, the 4th of July should take this honor as the most important holiday of the year.
100%. I love 4th of July. And by the way, why are we the two crazy people that are working on July 3rd? I think we're like the only two people in America working. But yeah, I love 4th of July. It's like,
why?
It's absolutely my favorite holiday.
Such a, what's your favorite memory, or what launched 4th of July as being your favorite holiday? I have to know.
I don't know. I think it's just everyone's happy. Everyone's off work. It's in the summer, like the middle of summer. Like July is just a great month. You get the barbecues going, you get the beer out, the margaritas maybe. Oh man, my favorite 4th of July memory is probably back in college when I was living at what was called a dead house, which was this rich entrepreneur guy bought like 8 houses and he named them all after famous Grateful Dead songs. And it was I was living in Dark Hollow, and me and all the friends, we probably had like 30 people over to Dark Hollow.
Only in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Only in Palo Alto does a Grateful Dead billionaire just buy up a bunch of houses on a college campus.
It was great. It was great. All the neighbors hated him because he rented them out to college students at nothing. Like we paid him nothing, and we just destroyed the houses. But in this beautiful Palo Alto neighborhood. But yeah, we had the barbecue kicked up, the music going. It was awesome. That was my favorite memory. What was yours though? What's your favorite 4th of July memory? I don't know the answer to this.
I don't know. I was thinking you might ask me this. So I was trying to think of that this morning, and the first thing that came up was actually getting stranded in downtown Minneapolis for the first time. Like I was with my friend who just got her license, and we went to go watch the fireworks, and then we lost her car keys. So we were wandering, and this was pre-cell phones, we were just wandering around downtown Minneapolis that, let's just say, might not have been the safest place for us at 12:30, 1 a.m. And finally we went into a bar that may or may not have had exotic dancers in addition, and called her dad to come pick us up because we had lost her brand new car.
And this is downtown Minneapolis, like 1997, 1998. What year is this?
Yeah, probably
roughly.
Like mid to late 90s. I don't remember the exact year, but we were with these guys. It was bad. just, that was one crush that I had, and thought we'd have this romantic night at the fireworks that turned
Oh, wow.
very
Now it gets even
opposite.
spicier. Yeah.
Very
BNB.
opposite.
Bad news bears, man. Bad news bears.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, the listeners didn't come to hear about my teenage dirtbag times. They
Actually,
came.
some of them probably did, but hey, who knows?
Maybe. But we are in the first week of the month. It's already July, Chris, and you know what that means?
I do, and it means it's Omni Stars week, which is the week where it's just the week where we recognize not the pundit, not the consultant, and not even the so-called quote unquote expert, but the real retail operators that are moving the concept of omnichannel retailing forward. As a reminder, each month we present the Omni Star Award in partnership with Corso. Corso's AI Copilot coaches retail leaders to optimize store performance at every level, transform retail operations from data overload into data powered with Corso today. This month's OmniStar goes to Diana Marshall, the Chief Growth Officer at Sam's Club. Yeah, we've interviewed Diana a few times now, and she really knows her stuff. And this award is a testament to her and really to all the great work that her team continues to do at Sam's Club each and every year. They are still a standout when it comes to innovation and moving the idea of omnichannel retailing forward. We just love Diana, don't we, Ann?
Yeah, she's fantastic. And I have to say, of someone that we get the opportunity to interview, she's always been the most kind. And I've heard from so many people who work underneath her, just what an inspiration she is, what a great listener she is, and how she really can help build the culture at Sam's Club that allows them to move as quickly as they can and really to have the success that we've been talking about from that retail organization for the past several years.
Yeah. The other thing I love about her too, Ann, when we interview her, she brings the data. Her points of view are grounded in data, which I absolutely love. It's not just, some fluffy thing that she's saying, like, hey, we got to listen to the customer. It's like, we're listening to the customer based on the data that we're seeing in terms of how the customer is reacting to what we're trying to do. Right.
Like, remember Scan and Go when she was like, this is how many people are using the Scan and Go. And we were both like, what?
And this is how it's growing. And this is how we're monitoring it. Yeah. All that great stuff. So we salute you, Diana. Hope you have a great 4th of July. All right, Ann, let's do the Fast Five. Today, we've got news on Target lowering the thresholds by which it is asking its associates to stop theft, Tesco trialing on-pack scannable QR codes, a company called Tiptop adding its own unique twist to the buy now, pay later trend, ShopRite and Price Chopper joining the growing ranks of grocers piloting Instacart's Caper cart. But we begin today with even more news out of Amazon. Ann.
Yeah, big news from Amazon this week, Chris. Headline number one.
Oh, you think so? Yeah. Okay, cool.
I do. Headline number one, Amazon is planning to launch a new discount store in a bid to compete with Temu and Shein. According to CNBC, Amazon plans to launch a new section on its site dedicated to low-priced fashion and lifestyle items that will allow Chinese sellers to ship directly to U.S. consumers. Based on a presentation to Amazon sellers viewed by CNBC, Amazon's storefront will feature a range of unbranded items, many priced under $20. Amazon will ship the products directly from China to the U.S. with the goal of delivering them to shoppers within 9 to 11 days, the presentation shows. Amazon said merchants would be able to test new items through small batch production, similar to the model Shein uses, which is referred to as on-demand manufacturing, i.e., that practice of producing a limited quantity of goods and manufacturing more as demand increases. It's unclear when Amazon intends to debut the storefront, but the presentation did note that it will start accepting products this fall. Chris, this is also the A&M put you on the spot question. A&M would like to know, is the impact of this action as big as the headline reads, given China-based sellers already represent something close to 50% of the top 10,000 sellers on Amazon in the U.S.? Also, the source for that is Amazon's, quote, significant, end quote, reliance on Chinese sellers from Marketplace Pulse.
Okay, first of all, I got to give A&M credit for quoting their source of their reference material. That's awesome. That's talk about going above and beyond.
Right.
All right. First of all, I love this headline too, Ann. I agree with you. That's why I was so pleasantly surprised to see that you're big on this one too. And the question is great because I think it highlights that yes, the majority of Amazon's business comes from Amazon sellers now, But how they actually do that business is the nuance here.
Yep.
You know, Amazon, if you think about it, has pushed 2-day delivery since the cows come home for as long as we can remember, which generally necessitates warehousing in the United States. It's the only way you can deliver that product on that timeline. And what Shein and Temu have discovered is that people don't care about shipping speed, especially if it also means you can get cheaper, cooler product, right, Ann?
Yep.
So, and the other thing too that's important in this story, which really is just becoming known to me too. I didn't really realize this or understand this, but Shein and Temu are basically playing off tax loopholes that allow companies to avoid having to pay tariffs if goods enter the States as direct shipments to customers, which is really fascinating when you think about it. That's how
Oh,
they're able to
interesting.
do this. Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing that stops Amazon from taking advantage of that same tax hole loop. So the bigger question to me, though, is that any retailer, any apparel retailer, because the products have to be cheap, they have to be under a certain amount to avoid the tariffs. Any apparel retailer that's okay with a 9 to 11 day lead time, if the prices are better, and you know, for most of us, we'll wait for that shirt. And I know you'd wait for that shirt. You know,
Oh, yeah.
any retailer can do this, and so the implications of it are very staggering because it creates a whole new way to think about and do e-commerce. And it's a way that hopefully the retail industry will get on board. I doubt they will, but essentially you don't need to have US warehousing for your e-commerce businesses anymore because you can just get them shipped directly from China and keep your inventory low and keep reacting to the customer. And so there are a few companies out there already doing this. One is called Portless. I met them on Tuesday. They were blowing my mind as the guy I was talking to was telling me about what they do. So
Yeah.
I think ultimately this is big news when you think about how the retail landscape is changing, particularly from the e-commerce side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you did a great job, and the tax loophole that's a really interesting one, especially with an upcoming election and the back and forth about like the tariffs on products from China. I think that's fascinating. I think my angle here, Chris, is actually that I believe we still have an abundance of US consumers who also trust Amazon more than they do Temu and Shein. You still have a large body of the population who wants that good deal, who's willing to wait for it, but because they've used Amazon, they're familiar with Amazon fulfillment. It's the same reason that Buy with Prime was a thing that took off, putting it on other websites, because people recognize that symbol. And I think there's a lot of potential here too. Like, will Amazon offer free shipping on these items because you're a Prime member? Like, I don't know how they make all of this pencil, but are they able to kind of get some benefits that come along with the millions of Prime members that exist already in the US? Can they get scale in this where they're reducing the timeline down to from 11 days to 9 or even to 8 to 7? And then are they able to facilitate returns on these items too? I mean, I think that's the other thing. Like Shein and Temu, you are not returning that product. And, you know, it's pretty much once it gets here. And when you're ordering that from, I mean, I've ordered from both companies several times. Like, if it's not what you thought, if it doesn't meet the picture, which oftentimes you got one or two things in the bag that don't quite work out as planned, you're kind of SOL. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity here if Amazon starts to use their scale that they have and the client base that they've already built.
Yeah, the point about returns is really good. The other point I thought about too, Ann, which I'm curious to get your take on, and then we'll move on to headline two, is, you know, essentially anyone can do this, but you do have to think about the front end interface of the Shein and Temu experiences too. They're very good with the gamification. They're very good with getting people into products and convincing them to buy very quickly, which is something that Amazon has historically not been very good at, particularly when you look at apparel. And it's something that's also more difficult for, you know, the average e-commerce retailer to get to do as well. But it shows you from a back-end logistics standpoint that I think anyone can try to start doing this model as long as that tax loophole exists.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to headline number 2.
All right. Target has lowered the bar for workers to stop thefts to as little as $50. According to Bloomberg, store staff can now seek to halt incidents of theft worth at least $50, lower than the previous threshold of $100, people familiar with the matter said, asking not to be identified discussing private company policy. I always think that's interesting. The new guideline is expected to be enforced this summer, those same people said. And my question, do you think Target's new theft guidelines will have a meaningful impact on actually reducing theft? Or is this just another float in the recent parade of Target headlines signifying nothing.
I don't know how this could possibly change theft reduction. And
100% agree.
instead, it just raises some really big questions for me. One, what harm does this potentially open up associates to? Like,
Right.
from $100 to $50, like you're going to now encourage your associates who are already strapped to now be like, let me see, 10 tank tops they just took off of that whole shelf and 10 times 8, like, should I go after, like, this, just the amount of stuff to be going through people's minds right now when they're already having a huge list just to keep keep the shelves stocked. Like, how are you telling your associates to be prioritizing tasks that make the biggest impact on the business? I don't understand how this can be. I don't understand why this is even something that they're moving down to. Somebody please explain it to me. I just think, again, we talked about this a million times, but why aren't we hearing tests about singular entry and exit points? Like, that seems like a much better use of an associate's time than having them now try to figure out if it's a $50 item or a $100 item and whether or not they should approach somebody. I don't know, Chris. I'm baffled
Amen.
by it. I mean,
Amen.
I can't even be coherent in my thoughts. I'm just so confused. And you know what? The last thing I'm going to
What?
add
Yeah,
is,
keep going. You're on a roll.
how is Target headquarters not being held accountable for shrink and other contributing factors when it comes to like the sales declines? Like, we don't hear anything about that too. And all we're hearing about is like, now it's just more on these poor associates that are working
Yep.
in stores. You have the experience here. Like, you work
Well,
in these Target stores, you know what's going on. I'm sure you have friends that you've
I
talked to
did
about
ask
this,
some of
but
my
like,
friends, yes, like
what's
some of the last
happening?
week. Yeah, well, I think, to your point about Target headquarters, they are being held accountable through the stock price. And the way this story has come out makes me think this was an quote unquote intentional leak. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. Like, to get some, like, get the analysts going, oh, they're lowering their thresholds. That'll help, like, come on. Like, your point is dead right. And there's two reasons it's not going to do a damn thing. One, or there's one big reason it's not going to do a damn thing. And then there's another reason I don't like, which is the same one that you mentioned too, which the first one is the local authorities are too strapped to deal with the current amount of
Right.
shoplifting. So now you're going to add even more cases because now you're lowering the threshold. So nothing is going to happen from this. Absolutely zero. And that's basically what my friends out in the field told me. They're like, this is not going to do anything. But the point I really don't like is, like, you're now branding that theft is an issue in your stores, and you're telling your stores associates they need to be more vigilant on it. So now it's just going to lead to bad things, Ann, right? Like, you're going to see a case where some, like, Joe security guard is going to be like, oh, you've got $25 or something. I need to stop you now. It seems like there's going to be more of a predilection for people to take action, which is something I don't like, because it doesn't get at the fundamental problem. Like you're saying, like, you need to come up with new solutions, new ideas. That's what we need here. So yeah, I'm 100% with you, Ann.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And what is the difference that $50 makes? Like, why that number? What, like, wouldn't you just have a policy overall of like, if you see somebody shoplifting something, here's the protocol. Like, I don't know. We did not have that when I was working in stores. It was just like, the associate is the most important thing. You report it to the authorities. You have a security guard to try to prevent it, but it's not, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and
what's
now
a
the
-year-old
risk of
employee gonna do?
confrontation is so high too. Like, the risk of confrontation and escalation is so high too, that now you're kind of, that's what I don't like about it. You're kind of telling people, like, okay, now you should be focused on even lesser amounts of theft, but yet, if you go and you confront them, that the risk of escalation is higher. And I don't like that. I don't like that environment. I don't want to work in that. And for me, I'd just be like, yeah, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's $25, $50, $100. Let it go. We got to come up with a different answer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I got to move on to headline number
All
3
right,
because
let's
I'm
do it.
getting down in the dumps and
Yes,
it's
you
4th of
are. We got to
July
pick
week.
you back up, Ann.
All right, headline number 3, Tesco is introducing on-pack scannable QR codes in a bid to give shoppers more detailed product information instantly, according to Grocery Gazette. Love the name of
The
that
Grocery
paper.
Gazette is appearing more often,
Oh my
Ann.
God,
They're doing a great job.
it's so like provincial. I love it. It's just sweet. According to the Grocery Gazette, and in what is being dubbed as the quote, second barcode revolution, and quote, the
Whoa.
supermarket's pilot program is collaboration with barcode standards body GS1 It aims to overcome the current limits to the amount of information physical labels can carry. The new initiative will allow Tesco products to be scanned by smartphones and at the point of sale, allowing for greater capabilities than the finite space on pack and standard barcode can offer. Chris, do you agree that we are amidst the second barcode revolution?
Oh man, and I kind of do. I kind of do, Ann.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Okay.
I like this headline a lot too. It's funny. I'm kind of like positive on two of the headlines of the three so far. So I don't know what's wrong with me going into the 4th of July holiday. But and funny enough, we're also gonna have Bitly and GS1 on our retail technology podcast series talking about this exact thing in a few weeks. So the timing could not be better. You're gonna want to keep an eye out for that one, folks. And the reason for it, the reason I like this is put simply, there's just more you could do with the QR code. You could get
Mhm.
product info as a consumer. You can look at expiration dates at the checkout lane much easier, you know? So in the long run too, you can even do cool things with computer vision and pricing as products get close to expiration. You can correlate all that information to take the actions on pricing that you need to make sure you're moving through your products. So I think it's the wave of the future. And especially, I mean, this is in the UK, but I think it's the wave of the future here in the States too, because as the Food Safety Modernization Act continues to take hold, we're just going to see more and more needs for these types of technologies to take hold. So I love it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the Schnucks example, when we went down there, they're using the GS1
Yep.
barcodes and they're a key contributor to like the data that they're able to collect for the operation behind the smart grocery store. It allows,
Mhm.
like you said, one code allows several technology capabilities from, understanding food expiration all the way to, making sure that certain products don't end up getting in customers' basket at the point of sale. So I love the capabilities that this is able to unlock. And did you know, have I ever told you, like, I read that book about the history of the barcode and how it came to be?
No.
Yeah,
How have
it
I
was,
not heard this story?
well, so I read this when I was I think I was on my honeymoon, but there is this, it's the book, The Storm of Creativity, that somebody gave me that we were working with at Target. And apparently the person who invented the barcode was on vacation and was like drawing lines in the sand and like
Oh,
figured out
wow.
that you could assign the lines to store this information. And that's kind of how the barcode came to be. So the whole idea is like you need to take a break this 4th of July and let your mind be creative and open and not focused on work. And then you'll come up
Yes.
with the next barcode.
Yeah.
I'm guessing somebody was like on an acid trip when they came
Right.
up with the QR code, though, because that's a little more jumbled.
Get to the beach. I don't know what's the more
Yeah,
interesting part of this story, that the guy was on the beach or that you were on your honeymoon reading that book.
I know.
That's classic. That's
I
classic
know.
stuff. The other thing too, Ann, it made me think about going back to your Gazette call out.
Yeah.
I think we need to bring back the word Tribune, like the Omni Talk Tribune. Get the
Oh,
alliteration going.
yeah.
I kind of like
Yeah.
that for the newsletter. I
I
might play
do.
around with that a little bit. The Omni
It's
Talk
very,
Tribune.
very 1920s.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah. I
see,
like it.
we
I
got
like it.
this Amitab
Get your news
Tribune.
here, everybody. All right. Headline number 4. A company called Tiptop has added a new twist to BNPL by allowing customers to apply trade-in value to new purchases. I cannot read this headline without thinking about Mary Poppins. Doesn't she say like chip
Tip
top or
top.
what is it? What does she say in the movie? I can't
Spit
think of
spot.
it. Spit spot. That's what it is. Spit
Mhm.
spot. Tip top. All right. According to digitaltransactions.net, and congratulations to DTN's first ever shout out on the Fast Five. The idea of applying trade-in value for a new purchase grew out of a trade-in only app, Tiptop, launched about a year ago. Applying trade-in value toward the cost of a purchase is a way to increase consumers' purchasing power, the company says. On average, Tiptop says households in the United States have $1,800 worth of goods that match items accepted for trade in Tiptop's catalog. The Tiptop catalog lists 50,000 items that can be accepted for trade-in, such as iPhones or gaming systems. And how likely are you to try BNPL, buy now, pay later, with trade-in?
I love that I have this option
I know
available.
you
I
do.
mean,
I
I
figured
was
you did.
so intrigued when I heard about this. I know it's like a small company and the chances of this exploding and taking off are probably very slim. But I had to liken this right away to what I do with luxury consignment. Like I bring all my stuff
Yep.
in, they make it super easy for me, and I have a credit, and they always ask me to like, "Do you want to check for this stuff?" And I'm like, "No, actually, like I just keep it in the rotation. Like when I bring that in, it's like I'm just getting new things for this." And so I think the key to the success of this will be making it super easy for the customers. So I like the idea that they're talking about in the article about eventually having Uber be able to come pick up old gaming systems or your cell phones, and then really kind of just giving people a leg up with their BNPL payments, regardless of what they're using them for. I mean, I think especially when it comes to household needs, or you need a new TV, to be able to like do some cleanup and clean out very easily, have an Uber come pick it up and take it, and you're already,
Mm.
$800 into your BNPL payment for your TV. I think it sets people up for more success with those payments when you got a little bit of a higher leg to stand on. The other thing that I'm curious about,
Oh.
I wonder what you think about this too, Chris, is
Oh.
this may be an opportunity not for a tip top, but for retailers to like,
Yep.
I think back to Alvier, and when we talked to them about like having this bank or this stored
Hmm.
card with money that you
Yep.
have to spend at that retailer, like that's an opportunity here for them to, I think, make these retailers to kind of take on this sort of approach, if it's as seamless as it seems like it could be for some of the trade-ins for some of this product. But what do you think? I mean,
Yeah.
where do you land on it? Am I just living in my luxury consignment world over
No, I
here
think I
on an
think
island?
that's where my head went, is that last part you said. I mean, first of all, like $1,800 of goods in my house, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
Yeah.
is that real? Like, I gotta check. I mean, we gotta check that out, and see, because like $1,800 is a lot of money,
Yeah.
and the average person's house, my God, I'm a little skeptical of that, quite honestly. But I think your point is right, because the idea makes sense. It's got good sustainability angles to it too. My only question is like, how defensible is it for every other BNPL to start
Right.
doing it?
Right.
There probably are some moats here when you think about the reverse logistics side of it, but it also sounds like the app is pretty new. So how will they actually have all that figured out, and the cost uh issues that come with that? Do they have
Yeah.
that sorted out? Is there a business model there? Who knows? But I think your point is right, is in that if I was a retailer, this could be an interesting acquisition candidate, particularly if you're in the refurbished business already,
Yeah.
to one, get you
Great
into
point.
BNPL space with your own, proprietary offering, and or get this trade-in idea brought to market with that same BNPL offering. So that I like. And so, who knows? I mean, Amazon could start thinking about this very easily. I think, a company like Best Buy could take a look at something like
Hmm.
this, I think too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just makes sense.
All right. We'll see what happens to Tip Top.
TikTok spit. Let's
We'll,
get to
we'll
headline 5, spit spot, Ed. Spit
Spit
spot.
spot. All right, headline number 5. ShopRite is expanding its Caper Cart pilot. According to Chain Storage, ShopRite is adding Instacart's Caper Carts at 4 stores in the Philadelphia area, following a recent rollout at a store in Hoboken, New Jersey. ShopRite, which debuted its use of the Instacart Smart Cart technology in June 2023, now offers the Smart Shopping Cart at 11 of its stores. For those who may need a refresher, Caper Carts feature an interactive screen used to engage customers, track spending, provide direct access to coupons and deals through a loyalty program, and enable shoppers to check out from wherever they are in the store. It should be noted that Price Chopper and McKeever's also announced Caper Cart pilots on June 25th. Chris, are you still negative on the long-term prospects of smart carts, or have these new store adoptions changed your mind?
Oh man. I think I'm still more negative than positive, but the positive side of me continues to grow. I think if I had to put
Okay.
numbers to it, I'd be like 70 negative, 30 positive. And
Okay. Okay.
the biggest issue for me with all these tests is, how do you get people to use the carts when they're in so few stores to begin with, and so
Mhm.
few of them are actually available in those stores too, which is
Right.
also another important point. So it's very difficult to market them, to use them. You can't like market the region, for example, to say, hey, we've got these smart carts, come in and try them, when you only have like 2 or 3 in your store, because that's just
Yeah.
not going to work. So until we see a handful of retailers put them in every store in a market, and then actually market that they have them to their consumers, I don't think we're going to actually know what we really have here because the use cases are just going to be so small. And in a lot of ways, it could be very false positive as well.
Yeah.
So I think somebody's got to really lean into this because the people that are going to be the first adopters on these things are really going to use them.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
I don't know. And then there's so many implications too about how long they hold up when you have your whole store operation working with them too. So I don't know. That's my head. But are you more positive or are you about the same degree
No,
that I am? Or
I think
more negative
I
even?
think no, I think I agree with you. I still every time we do this, nobody says like how many are actually being deployed in the
Yeah, it's
stores.
very hard to
And
understand.
if any of these retailers are actually looking to completely replace all of their carts with Caper carts, the only indication we have of this is really Amazon Fresh, which it's not an apples to apples comparison for the average grocery store retailer.
Yeah.
But they are, Amazon is rolling these out. They are putting all their weight behind it. Wakefern, remember, they were rumored to be partnering with Trigo to open the first checkout free store. And now with
Now
the
they're doing the
shelf
carts.
sensors and
Good point.
computer vision, and now they're going this route. So I think the carts with retail media, like still as a pilot, I think they can show that they can create enough value and quick ROI. But again, it's like, what's the right cocktail here of regular carts, Caper carts, or going all in on one? And I still think we have yet to see kind of what the real numbers look like and whether or not this is something that grocery store retailers are really going to go in on full bore.
Yep. 100% agree. All right,
All
let's
right,
close this out.
let's go to the lightning round. Chris, question number 1 is for you. Delta just opened their new elite lounge at JFK Airport, offering guests massages, showers. My yoga teacher told me they're doing eye treatments, like actual eye treatments here.
What?
And there's an high-end restaurant. Yes. As someone who doesn't seem to get what all the fuss is about when it comes to the lounge life, Chris, what is one thing that Delta could add to the lounge experience that might change your tune if it's not eye masks
Yes, and I,
specifically?
I do want to I do want to let the insiders in, the listeners in on some little inside baseball here. My number one pet peeve of traveling with Anne is that she always wants to go to the Sky Lounge. No matter what airport we're in, we have to go to the Sky Lounge.
Yes.
But yeah, but I love her for
You go in your regular
I,
bathrooms,
I
Chris. That's
I love
fine.
her. I love her for it. I love her for it. I can't hold it against her. And the free coffee is hard to turn down. But so for me, Ed, to get me to want to go to the Sky Lounge every time we travel, free pints of Guinness. That would get me there every single time. Free
Yeah,
pints of
they don't.
cold Guinness. Yes, they don't
Okay.
have Guinness on tap.
We'll
We
write
were
a
at one
letter.
place. I think we were at one place overseas where they had the tap, but it wasn't working. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
God, what the heck is
shoot.
going on here?
I'm
All
sorry. We'll
right.
work on that. We'll
All
work on
right.
it.
All right. Headline number 2, or lightning round question number 2, I should say. Elton John is partnering with eBay in a charity resale event of items from his own closet called the Rocket Man Resale that will benefit the Elton John AIDS Foundation. And what is one item of clothing from a famous rock star you would want? And no, you cannot say the sweat from Bon Iver's brow because that is not clothing as
Mm.
much as you would love to be as much as you would love to ensconce yourself in it, I should say.
I don't know if I want to ensconce myself in any of Justin Vernon's sweat. It's not, yes, I get the sentiment. I get the sentiment here. Um, so I would say this is not even a rock star. This is from a rock star's video.
That's
The
okay.
first thing that came to mind was Stephanie Seymour's short wedding dress in the Guns N' Roses November Rain video. I still think about this to this day. And that was like when I thought of this question, the first thing that came to mind is like related to that, but not. But oh man, it was so awesome at the time. I still think it's so cool.
Oh my God, Stephanie Seymour. Man, you just brought back some Sports Illustrated swimsuit memories for
Oh
me,
boy.
and oh
Oh
my
boy.
God.
All right,
Woo!
let's go on to question number 3, Chris. Grinder is now adding an AI-powered wingman to help scan profiles and aid in conversation that will help users get dates. Tinder and Bumble have already stated that they will soon be doing the same. Are you pro or con AI wingman inside of dating apps if you're trying to get Stephanie Seymour to go on a date with you?
Yeah. Man, we cover it all, and we really do. We go from Stephanie Seymour to Grinder and AI and dating apps, AI wingmen. Oh my God. I kind of hate this idea, actually. I mean, if you start using AI for your pickup lines online, won't all the pickup lines start to sound the same? Like, don't they learn off each other? Like, that's the
Yeah,
problem I have with AI right
probably.
now is like everything starts to sound the same in general until it gets better. So I
Not
don't know. I
the
don't like
fact
that.
that like you're not as charming in person as you were
Yeah,
online.
that too. Like that becomes an issue too, right? And so like I don't know. I feel like the premium is still going to be on who can just bring it every day and be
Yeah.
original on their with their own thoughts, right? Which is hopefully what still happens in our space too, but I don't know. All right. Last one. Speaking of AI, because we just got to keep talking about it. NBC says that it will use an AI version of Al Michaels' voice in its daily Olympic recaps. And if you could have one famous play-by-play announcer doing play-by-play recapping of your day in 10 minutes or your life in 10 minutes, a recap of your life in 10 minutes, who would it be?
Oh my God. I think the most appropriate person would be Harry Caray. Just like, she's looking a hot mess today, folks. Oh, once again, can't figure out where her keys are. This is gonna be a problem. Like that would be the perfect person for like every 24 hours of my life.
Holy
Especially
cow.
holy cow. She
Man, your Harry Caray
up.
impersonation is pretty damn good, Ed. I got to
Oh
give
my
you props
God.
for that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's really good.
probably got to be Harry Caray, like the most fitting of my personality for sure.
Oh my God, that was great. Oh my God, what a fun treat at the end of the show. All right, happy birthday today to Connie Nielsen, Shawnee Smith, and to the man who we all love because he is still dangerous, Maverick himself, the great Tom Cruise, who turns, believe it or not, Ann, 62. Tom C is 62. I can't believe that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
And
he had a
remember,
facelift too. You can see it. I guess
oh
he's got a
yeah, for
double
sure.
earlobe.
He'll probably be the
The
first man
tell.
that lives forever too. I just feel
God,
like that guy's gonna be frozen.
great.
He's gonna be like frozen caveman here soon. All right, and remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it Omni Talk, the only retail media outlet run by two former executives from a current top 10 U.S. retailer. Our Fast Five podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news, and our daily newsletter, the Retail Daily Minute, tells you all you need to know each day to stay on top of your game as a retail executive, and also regularly features, not features, special content that is exclusive to us and that Ann and I take great pride in doing just for you. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can follow us today by simply going to youtube.com/OmniTalkRetail. And until next week, on behalf of all of us at OmniTalk Retail and on behalf of Ann and myself, as always, be careful out there.